Those high horsepower V8 stock cars are back on the track here at Queensland Raceway for race 3 of their fantastic series. The third round of the Power Tour. 3,500 pounds of fun, Angela.
Very much so, Nathan. Ground counting action. Martin Burrows on the inside in the black car and Doug Moss in the Tees contracting car on the outside. Rolling starts, the foot's going to be through the floor and the first corner should be very exciting.
Yeah, what will make this one a little bit more spicy is it's a reverse grid. That's why you see the likes of Madecki, Elliott and Southwell coming from further back. Southwell with a big run down the inside of Benson there. Looks like Harrison, who really hasn't had the best weekend, is starting to make his way forward nice and early as well.
That's right, these cars in the early part of the race, the tyres are incredibly cold, but Moss is streaking the field. He's got his, let's say, glory at this point in time. That car needs a little bit more development work, but he's doing a great job. On the back of Tony Southwell's car, oh, you can see the Phantom going wide in the 8 car. It looks like Burrows has dropped out in the dirt, and the cars are really throwing up a dust screen here at Queensland Raceway.
I guess one of the most common driving problems that we've seen with these cars, not necessarily due to the drivers, is understeer. We've got a case of it there. That looks like either Madecki or the 95 of Bob Middleton dropping a wheel on the dirt. But these cars seem to really get a big push. Why is that, Luffy?
Well, when these tyres are cold, as you can see, the car's running wide. You can see Moss's car is pushing like a drover's dog. It's just a lot to do with the weight. You mentioned before, Nathan, how heavy these cars are. Huge heavyweight cars. Let's say a little bit on the under-tired side. That's what makes them very exciting, and that's what the fans come to see. The cars slide around on screen at the moment. We've got Tricky Dick Howell in the Sharwood's number 11 car, and you can see the car pushing coming through there. Probably a little bit on the safe side to have understeer as opposed to tail action, which is oversteer.
Yeah, well, I think the oversteer comes with the right foot. There's no shortage of horsepower. Southwell slides it down the inside. Moss just lets him go, and the number 17, 1-800 I'm King, the Fireworks King. And I'll tell you what, Tony Southwell really wants to get a win. He nearly had Andrew Madecki in the earlier races, but some slight mistakes caused Madecki the chance to get through. And Andrew Madecki has only been beaten once this season in a fair and square race. Tony Southwell wants to change that.
Well, he surely does, and all of these drivers are gaining experience little bit by little bit with these road courses, as opposed to the oval tracks where they normally race. But this Power Tour series has really come on thick and fast. A lot more cars coming on screen, and we mentioned before, the fans love it. But here he comes, Southwell locking a wheel. We've called him the incredibly talented driver, and boy oh boy, that was a lot of skill there doing threshold braking.
George Elliott's come forward as well, the noble number 55, charging. There's Madecki, there's Middleton, Harrison, Benson, and these guys really supporting the series. It'll be good to see more of them on the grid at Oran Park for round 4 of the Power Tour, Luffy.
Yeah, well, the Power Tour is coming on very well indeed. All the people are enjoying it. The super truck action, the V8 stock cars. You can still, we mean it and get your mouth around it, Luffy. Wheel-to-wheel action. Harrison got the rub then from Moss. But yeah, the Power Tour is really coming on well, Nathan, and the spectators love it, and no shortage of action.
Yeah, it looks a bit like Tony Southwell's trying to take a sneak down the inside of Dick Howell, which is good to see. The Ferdinand Kelly Volts number 11 doing a good job. He really hasn't had the best of the last few couple of race meetings. Malalar started well, but from there on, Dick's had some real tyre trouble. He's had a spin here once this weekend, but he wants to change that. He leads it at the moment. Can he hang on to it?
Well, I'm sure he can, but on screen at the moment, George, Hollywood, Elliott, the no bull car we mentioned before, one of the, let's say most of the active drivers. He's had a fair bit of action. He's had a few little 360s. We call it executed controlled driving, but a great piece of driving. But the man on screen at the moment, the number 6 car, Moss, in that lovely white Tees contracting car, he's really coming on like gangbusters. There's number 11, Dick Howell. He's done dirt speedway, he's done all sorts, and he's really coming, let's say, under a lot of pressure from Tony Southwell.
Yeah, he certainly is, but he seems to be holding him out at the moment. Hasn't cracked under pressure. Southwell again with a look under brakes. Now, I understand this 17 Chevy Monte Carlo has a pretty good braking system on it, Luffy.
Yeah, we had a bit of a look at down in the pit. Incredibly impressive. It's got the massive Brembo 6-pot calipers. What we mean is it's got 6 pistons in there pushing against the disc pad, which means it avoids what's called knock-off. And that's the worst thing. That's when the pad gets pushed back into the caliper. And Southwell has got what we call more of a constant brake pedal, particularly pulling up these big heavy weights from the high speeds they're doing here at Queensland Raceway.
Yeah, Dick Howell, very experienced circuit racer in the sense of oval racer, I should say, but he certainly has pushed it too far there. Dick Howell has pushed wide. He out-braked himself. He's in the dirt, and around he goes. That's the second time today, and that he was in trouble from the moment he missed that corner.
Yeah, went in well and truly too hot. Got the brakes on, got out into the marbles, and that's where all the rubber build-up is on the outside of the circuit. Once you get these hot Hoosier tyres out there in the marbles, well, it's like being on a skating rink. But here he is, the man in front at the moment, Tony Southwell, coming under a huge amount of pressure from the master, Mad Andy from Port Macquarie. You mentioned before, Nathan, this guy's got an impeccable driving record, knows his way around circuits. There's the replay of Dick Howe we mentioned before. You can see he's out in all the rough stuff, all the marbles. Gets out there, the front tyre touches, around comes the back end with a bit of power. That's what you call the classic little 180 precision parking trick.
Yeah, it certainly didn't work for him. Here's the onboard from Tony Southwell, and you can see Dick Howe is in the background there on the dirt, gets on the gas, and the thing turns around very, very easily. Now, another factor is when they get sideways, they keep going because they're so heavy, lucky they carry so much momentum.
Yeah, that's right, Dave. The other thing is as well, they've got the engine set back a fair way in the chassis. These are a full space frame car, which means it's all bar work. The engine set back a fair way, so the actual weight balance in the car itself is quite good, and it tends to pivot around the central pivot point in the car itself, which is basically the driver. They give a real sense of the, let's say, seat in the bum feeling as you're driving. I had the privilege of driving one of these cars a few years ago, and they're incredibly nervous. They pitch around, you mentioned before, pushing out about 700 horsepower. Get on the gas too soon, and they want to spit you sideways. And the man on screen at the moment, the fireworks king, boy oh boy is he under pressure. You can see Madecki honing in. He's like an Exocet meat-seeking missile.
Yeah, he certainly is closing in, but I think Southwell, got to give him credit, he's managed to keep cool, and we saw that Dick Howe sort of outbrake. Madecki's gone a little bit wide there. Was that just a different line into that corner?
Yeah, well, I think Madecki's car's now starting to suffer with a bit of push. You can see how much steering lock he's got, meaning the front end doesn't want to go where the steering wheel's actually pointing. So he's been pushing on very hard, and if you burn these tyres up, the classic case is grip turns to slip, and when slip turns to sort of lack of grip, you've got major problems. You can see how Southwell is really coming in with a very late desperate brake. We mentioned about the braking system, but Tony Southwell actually apexes very early, turns in early. He sets the car up a little bit different, and but he's still got the mega mumbo to actually out-accelerate or stay with Madecki on the straights.
Yeah, is that just a preference in driving style, or has he actually set the car up to work with an early turn-in?
Well, I think it's probably the fact that he hasn't done a lot of circuit work, and maybe we need to get him out one of our driving systems and give him a few clues on sort of sharpening up the line, so that he's actually costing him time. The tight line, you'll see he's going to pull the car in very early. Madecki's actually come in, he's actually following suit at that particular point in time, but Madecki generally gets out a little bit later. Slingshot the car so he can get on the power that little bit earlier and hopefully have more exit speed.
Yeah, George Elliott hasn't really been able to make too much of an impact on these guys, but I think Madecki, lap after lap, is just pulling in Tony Southwell that little bit. He's not pulling him in as fast as I thought, though, but he certainly does make up some time here at this section. I think Madecki might be a little bit better under brakes, but watch Southwell's thing in a straight line. There is no shortage of horsepower in this number 17 car. It just mumbos down the front straight.
It surely does. We've mentioned before just how popular these V8 stock cars are. When you put it in a proportion of, I suppose, bang for your bucks, Nathan, that when you look at V8 supercars the way that they're running around at the moment, one of those will set you back in the region of probably $250,000. And you get into one of these cars sort of, we're probably around about 100 grand or even less, and there's a few second-hand ones on the market in the region of 50 grand. So bang for your bucks, 700 horsepower, people can go racing and really turn it on like we're seeing here on Speedweek.
Yeah, it certainly is, and the running costs aren't that phenomenal with these cars either. Of course, the Power Tour gives them plenty of racing as well. They get right around the country. We've been to Mallala in South Australia, of course, Oran Park. We're up here at Queensland for Queensland Raceway. Round 4 of the Power Tour will be coming to you from Oran Park Raceway, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. Southwell very tight again there, but he's managing to hold out Madecki. I'm very surprised. Madecki's obviously starting to suffer with a bit of handling, or Southwell's just really got the talent today.
Well, we mentioned before the incredibly gifted driver he's been known at around the pits, and he's going to go back there and let's say smack a few people's egos, because he said when he went out there, he said, I'm going out to win this. He's been known as the motor mouth. He shoots off at the mouth, but at the moment he's more than delivering that. He's not talking the talk, he's walking the walk and showing Madecki a clean pair of Hoosies. Impressive driving. Down deep into the tight corner, pitches it in early. Madecki has got every move covered. You can see what I mean about the front end push. Madecki's car, the front tyres have definitely gone away, and he is trying.
Yeah, well, there's only been one person this season that's beaten Andrew Madecki to the checkered flag in a fair and square race, and that was George Elliott at the very first race of the very first round at Malala. Since then, it has been a Medecky whitewash. Can Southwell beat Andrew Medecky here? He's certainly trying hard. The last race of the day for the third round.
Well, coming onto the main straight, Southwell got the foot through the floor, up through the gearbox, and he runs into the 4-speed box. But the speed of this firework car, he's lit the wick. He's got the ZZ Tops mask on. He is really firing. And you can see what we mean about Medecky's car. He has definitely got handling problems in the Bob Middleton White Line Transport Chevy Monte Carlo.
Yeah, well, I think if anything, Medecky's actually dropped off the tail of Southwell just a little bit in the last lap, but this is where Medecky is very good under brakes. If he gets the opportunity, he will have a look up the inside. No, but you can see he just went the extra lunge under brakes, gained a few extra metres there, Luppy.
Yeah, well, he does. I mean, Mad Andy's no shortage of brave when it comes to sort of braking very, very late indeed. But we mentioned before about the weight of these cars. At this point in time during the race, everything's hot. The driver's hot, the tyres hot, the brakes are well and truly hot. And they're probably looking at the gauges on the dashboard. In fact, the oil temperature's going to be up there. But the way that South pitches the fireworks car in, you know, sort of 1-800, I'm king. But Decky comes through, clips the inside, bit of oversteer. He's got the run on him this time here as they come to the flag. But Tony Southwell, he's waving, he's ecstatic. He's crossed the line first. Andrew Medecky crossing the line in second. And George Elliott coming home in third place.
Yeah, big drive to Tony Southwell. Congratulations, the first or second man, I should say, to beat Andrew Medecky across the line.